We're back. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not sure what we're doing.
Susanna and I are on, and Corbin. Susanna and Corbin and I. Is that better?
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Interlingua.
But we're back at Big Bend National Park for multiple reasons. One, we kind of need a place on the way back to the West Coast to stay warm. And
Two, last time we were here, we had some illnesses, so we didn't get to do everything we wanted to do, so...
yeah, we were down for about 2 to 3 days, so we missed out. And Big Bend is huge. And another reason, we found a nice little RV park, very nice people, good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, everything is pretty good about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have any negatives.
Yeah, so we thought, why not just come back? Anyway, so we've got a lot of stuff to see in Big Bend at the other end, near the Rio Grande Village. We're gonna try to ride some burros.
We're gonna go to Mexico.
Go to Mexico. Do more hiking.
Hopefully.
It seemed like a lot when I started to say it, but it'll be a lot of fun. How's that? Maybe not a lot of different things, but a lot of fun. And wipe everything else away. If I get to ride a burro across the Rio Grande, that's worth 5 days, 7 days here.
Check.
Yep.
Our second time at Big Bend started at the PAISANO RV Park and Inn. We stayed here a month prior and loved it. The park offers 12 full hookup sites, free laundry, great Wi-Fi, and a quiet stay. If you're looking for a great place to stay that's close to town and close to the national park, this is the one. It also offers beautiful moonlit skies. The next morning, we got up early and made the long drive to the Boquillas Port of Entry, which is in the far eastern section of the park just past the Rio Grande Village. This location is your chance to cross the Rio Grande and visit the small town of Boquillas Del Carmen, Mexico. We chose to come early to beat the midday heat and arrived just after the port of entry opened at 8 a.m. Stay tuned to learn everything you need to know about making this trip.
So we never knew coming to Big Bend that we would actually be given the opportunity to go to Mexico. But at the Boquillas crossing right outside the Rio Grande Village, you can come through, take a boat across, and go hang out in Boquillas Village. So we got up real early this morning and made the hour drive from Terlingua out to the crossing here, which is, like I said, I think it's a mile from the Rio Grande Village. Just walk through the gates and we're gonna head down and cross over on a rowboat for $5. Are you smiling? Real smile? We just came back from Boquillas, just crossed the Rio Grande again. And so we're going to give you some tips on how to make this little journey. So number one, when you get to the river, you have a choice. You can walk across it, or you can take the boat ride. The boat ride is $5 per person, and that's round trip. And then once you get over the other side, you get greeted by some gentlemen that offer you transportation options. And you have 4 transportation options, really.
So first you can walk. It's about a 3/4 mile walk through sand and rocky terrain. Not too bad. It's a road. It's just a sandy road. You can get a truck, ride in the truck, back of the truck or whatever.
Yep.
Or you could take a donkey or a horse.
Yep.
So because they didn't have all the donkeys, Corbin took a donkey, $5 round trip, and we took the horses, which was
$8 for a horse. I think it's $8 for a truck as well. And then the burros are $5, and all I wanted was the burro.
But the horses were great.
Yeah, horses were great.
Yeah. And we went to Mexico. Boquillas, Mexico. We just hit a foreign country.
So once you get your transportation secured, they also give you a guide, and that guide stays with you the whole time, unless you're going to stay the night. But for just the day visits, you get a guide. He'll take you through the town. So ours was Felipe, very nice guy. So he actually walks the mules, the burros, and the horses into the village, and then once you get there, he guides you through the town. So we went to some of the little shops, and he actually took us to his home.
Yeah, his wife makes beautiful embroidery and wire
Sculptures,
I guess you want to call it.
and these really cool, I didn't even know they were a thing. It's a tortilla holder.
Yeah.
It keeps them warm, and beautiful
Flat.
handcraft.
Yep.
Flat and warm tortillas.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. And so a couple things. Oh, then we went to the restaurant. I forgot about the restaurant.
There are 2 restaurant options there. We went to the Falcon.
Yeah.
Very good history on that restaurant. When you sit down, you can read the back of the menu.
So it's been around since 1973, and it closed after 9/11 because the border was closed for 11 years. So all these folks that depend on visitors for their income, they didn't have jobs, so they left. They went to the States or went to other parts of Mexico. But the Mexican food, it's amazing, delicious. Prices are kind of about the same as what you might see in the States. It was $8.50 for 5 little tiny tacos.
But cash. Bring cash, and if you think you have enough cash, bring a little bit more.
Yeah. We brought $110 total, I think, was what we had, and we left with $0. So after all the mules, the transportation, the boat rides,
the tipping, because you got to tip them, and then the gifts.
Yeah.
About $100, and that was just in like a 2.5 hour time span.
Yep. And you can spend a lot more time. It's just the folks that are doing the guides, the more people they get in and guide, the more money they make. And he wasn't pushing us at all. He was very polite. But you could tell it was kind of like, okay, well, you guys, what do you want to do now? What do you want to do now? And we didn't have any more money.
Yep, so we were done. Note, they just recently got electricity.
Yeah, like a few years ago, they have a solar farm. So they have electricity.
Electricity doesn't always work in the summer because the solar panels get too hot. So another note, 120 degrees in the summer, maybe come in the spring or fall.
And maybe that's why the people were just walking and swimming across the Rio Grande to get over there.
Yeah.
So, but very cool experience. If you're in Big Bend or around, this is awesome. And they're adding more and more. So if you go to, I think it's boquillas.org, and it's on the Big Bend NPS website. But the town they're starting to do more tours, open things up. So they're going to have hot spring tours, a guide through the Mexican side of the Boquillas Canyon, and some other things. So it's growing, but it's a neat experience to see how they live.
And the fact that they're 160 miles from the nearest grocery store.
Yeah.
And their food is fresh. So I don't know what they do. They probably grow some stuff.
Because it was fresh. Yeah. Yep. A cool experience. Come check it out. So I guess some of the important things that we forgot to mention about going to Boquillas was documentation. So you do have to have passports. If children are less than, I believe it's 16, you have to have a birth certificate. It doesn't have to be original. It can be a copy.
Or some kind of identification for them. It doesn't have to be a birth certificate, but...
So once you get over there, they say that you're supposed to go to their immigration, but Felipe, our guide, said it hasn't been open for a year. So we didn't have to do that. But when we come back, we're going to go in through customs. We'll have to scan passports and things like that. So make sure you have those documents.
And they're current.
Yeah. And then we were also told, because it's open from 8 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday in the winter. The border is. So if you don't make it back by 5, they say you're sleeping outside by the river. So make sure you're back before 5.
At a hotel.
Yeah, so you got to go back across the border and stay over in Boquillas. So if you want to stay there, I guess.
Very nice people. Probably would be fun.
Yeah, just extremely nice people.
Yep.
Customs. That took all of what, like 3 minutes? So you come back in, they ask you, because you're not allowed to bring any cooked foods back, any foods back that aren't cooked. And then they check anything that you buy over there to make sure that you can actually bring it in the States. And then you go up to a machine, scan your passport, somebody from somewhere calls you, asks you a couple questions, and then you're good to go.
Our next stop in the eastern section was at the Boquillas Hot Springs, which lies down a 2-mile-long narrow road. This site was once the location for a resort, general store, and post office. Seeing the remains of this once vibrant area is a cool stop if you're at this end of the park. We recommend you get there early if you want to actually get in the springs though, because they fill up fast.
So we came out for the Hot Springs Trail to go to the hot springs, and we're not going to get in the hot springs because it is packed. It's hard to see. Way down there is the hot springs. It's still somewhat walled in from when it was a resort, and it's packed. And I'm not just going to go stand in the middle of it. So it all comes down to timing. Today we didn't time right.
The next day we decided to explore the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive that runs to the southwest corner of the park. There are plenty of stops along this route, so if you're going to take it, make sure you plan for a full day. A great place to stop and stretch your legs is at the Homer Wilson Ranch. It's a short hike that takes you out to the site of what was once an 11,000-acre sheep and goat ranch.
Today we are out on the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. We just stopped at one of the early stops, which is a small trail out to the Homer Wilson Ranch, which is only, I think it's a 0.7 round trip. A little short hike out to a cabin in a ranch that was abandoned back in 1945. But really today is just to go out and do the scenic drive. It's 60 miles round trip. It's supposed to be beautiful. So we're gonna spend the day doing that.
This single-story, two-bedroom home was placed on the National Registry of Historical Places in 1975 and is in surprisingly great shape. Near the end of the paved scenic drive is the Castellon Visitor Center. Sadly, a fire in early 2019 destroyed many of the buildings here, but there are still exhibits showing the long history of this area. The paved Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive ends 8 miles past Castellon at the Santa Elena Canyon Overlook. The canyon is 8 miles long, 1,500 feet deep, and a favorite spot for those rafting along the Rio Grande. This spot is also where you need to decide to either drive back on the paved road or try the Old Maverick Road. We chose the Old Maverick Road and ended our day on this 13-mile rocky, bumpy, remote, and slow-going shortcut.
We try to get out quite a bit at the national parks and make sure we hike trails and whatnot. But Terlingua and Study Butte, where we're staying, is actually, it's kind of a drive into the park. And then once you get there, I mean, it's a long drive to kind of anywhere you want to go. And today we want to do a hike, but we didn't want to drive the 20 minutes to an hour to find a good trail. And luckily, right outside of town, there's a trail called the Indian Head Trail, which interestingly enough is at the end of the Indian Head Road, which is right in town. So about 2 miles down a dirt road that ends up at a fence, and that's where another trail inside Big Bend National Park begins. And so right now we're on Indian Head Trail, going to some petroglyphs, some type of glyph. And one thing said it was 0.7 miles out. Another one said it was 1.9 miles round trip. So this could be anywhere from like half a mile to a mile. But it is a very quiet trail. Not a lot of people around. There actually were 2 other people waiting to start the hike, so we got out in front of them. Yeah, we're gonna see petroglyphs
and hot spring, or a spring, just a regular spring.
A regular spring?
Indian Head Springs.
Okay.
They're supposed to be at the end of the trail.
Well, let's go find them.
The petroglyphs are pretty easy to find on this trail, and it's an easy hike with the kids.
Are there more? So maybe this is it? So right on that rock, there's some more petroglyphs.
It also looks like where you make a field goal.
You think it looks like uprights?
It does.
Maybe they played a version of football back in the day. I don't know.
We followed the trail out to the hot springs but turned around at that point because it narrowed and seemed unsafe.
Well, we answered the question. To get back to where the springs are at, it's about 0.7 miles.
The Indian Head Trail has some very cool rock formations and was a great place to spend our last day in the area. Join us next week as we continue heading west and end up finding that Hatch chilies go great in just about everything.
Thank you for watching. We'd love to share our journey with you, so hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you know when a new video is uploaded. And don't forget to leave your comments down below and hit the like button.